All right, what's up, everyone? We are at our first live event at Chess Education. We are setting up the board right now. And what's up, guys? We are live. So I'm here with Joshua Colas. He is a FIDE master in the US, a young kid, 18 years old, and we are going to take a look at one of his games today. So let's get ahead and get started.
Hi guys, today I'll be showing you my game I played not too long ago. This game I was white. I played against Grandmaster Vladimir Georgiev from Macedonia. And this game I found to be very special to me because not only did this game allow me to get a new title, which is International Master, I also thought this game was special to me because it was very tactical, and it was a very neat game. So we could get started. I was white. The game started out with the queen's pawn, d4. He responded by playing knight f6, played his pawn to c4, pawn to e6. For those who don't know the name of this opening, this is called the Nimzo Indian defense. I replied by playing knight to c3.
So what are some ideas in the Nimzo Indian defense? Like why not play d5 right away, and why play knight c3, allowing bishop e4? I'm always confused in the Nimzo.
Well, the idea of the Nimzo is to bring the bishop out to b4. Now, if you were to play, if we go back one move, if you were to play two moves, if you were to play d5, this would not be in the spirit of the Nimzo Indian. This would be called the Queen's Gambit. If Black were to play e6, the next move. But the idea of playing e6 is to bring the bishop to b4, and that's usually Black's choice. It's inevitable for White to stop Black by playing the bishop to b4. So most people choose to play the Nimzo because it's not only is it solid, it could lead to great results as well for Black. Now I responded knight c3 because over the years I've been studying this opening, and I played myself as Black, and I just like the way White positions his pieces with knight c3 rather than knight f3. So he played bishop b4, which is the normal move. Now here I played a not too popular move, and this move is f3. Now the reason why I chose this move is because before going into this game, I figured, I need to play something that looks very aggressive and also, will allow me to have good chances for a win. Because I needed to beat this Grandmaster in order to get this title. And I figured that, a move like f3 would be very, very good to play, because any other Nimzo Indian move like queen c2 or pawn to e3 would be just a very solid game, but I feel like f3 was more aggressive. Now here he responded by castling. After he castled, I played pawn to a3. Now this is all theory. He captured. I captured. Now it looks like my pawns are very funny, but believe it or not, the idea of White's plan is to play pawn to e4 and try to control the center with his c, d, and e pawn, and eventually, attack the king in the future by playing bishop to d3, and all his pieces are aiming towards the king side.
Right.
So after I captured, he played pawn to d5. Now this is normal. He wants to stop me from playing pawn to e4. Now after he played d5, I captured. He captured back. Now I played pawn to e3. The idea of this move is to bring the bishop to d3.
And now, aren't you a little bit concerned of rook e8 and just piling up on the pressure on your king?
Now the thing is, if rook e8 were to be played, it's not something that I don't really have to worry about, because since this bishop on c1 is protecting the pawn on e3. And white wouldn't want to exchange the rook for the pawn, especially if it could be captured by the bishop on c1. So there's enough protection to, believe it or not, even though it looks like the rook is on a fully open file and it's indirectly attacking my king. The idea is still to just develop the bishop and then followed by bringing the knight to e2. But he didn't choose to do that. Instead he played bishop to f5, assuming that my plan is to play bishop d3, which it is. Now, after he played bishop to f5, I played knight to e2. So the idea of this move is to play the aggressive pawn to g4. Now, it's known that bishop f5 is not really a popular move in this line, because the idea, if black doesn't know, white's idea is to play knight to e2, followed by pawn to g4, so that I can bring the bishop to g2 instead. I looked at my opponent's face, and it seemed to me that he didn't really know the line, and I was kind of happy when I saw this, because in chess is not only about playing the board and moving pieces. It's also about it's a psychological game. If you could tell that your opponent is scared or he is confused, and you know that you know the position very well, then that leads to an advantage for you. And I saw that in my opponent's eyes, and I was kind of happy, because this is what I wanted, especially in a game like this. So after knight to e2, he responded pawn to c5. Seems natural. I played pawn to g4.
Now, why didn't you take on c5? Why would undoubling your pawns for beginners, let's say, and ruin your pawn structure in the center? Why would that be bad? Because you seem to be playing g4, which weakens your king, and students I know, they're told not to weaken their king. So why not play something like take on c5 and maybe just knight to g3 right away?
Okay, so the reason why black plays pawn to c5 is so that I can take. It's so that if I take, my pawn structure is totally ruined. Now, this center pawn that was on d4 was very strong. It was holding my center, and it was allowing my my center to not collapse. So me capturing on c5 just allows win this pawn, since it's not protected, and it can't be protected by any of my own pawns. And now my center pawn is not there anymore. Now that's black's plan. And instead, the reason why I play pawn to g4, and it looks very, very crazy, because I know students are told not to push kingside pawns unless it's necessary, but the reason why this is okay in this position is because I have a concrete plan. My plan is to try to not only attack black's king, but my plan is to develop my bishop to g2 followed by castle. Now, if you guys could see that, the bishop will go to g2, and then I'll castle. My king is pretty safe. Now, if we were to play a few moves, let's say I played bishop here, let's say he played bishop there, I played bishop here, he develops his knight, and I castle. My king is fairly safe. My knight is going to go to g3, and eventually, I'll try to play somewhere in the center, possibly by playing e4 in the near future. But this is the reason why in this opening, this pawn to g4 move is okay. Now, another thing I would advise, to students that's just, learning the game is, if you're going to start a new opening, it's best to try to find insight on that opening, meaning, try to look up the latest theory, the latest moves that are being played, because, for somebody who doesn't know if you were to play against somebody who's playing the same exact opening, and you see him push out g4, you might think, it's a bad move, but honestly, it's the move that's being played recently. And that's the reason why, studying chess is very important daily, and, looking at, different games or reviewing the latest moves is very important. But if we go back to the position.
Mm-hmm.
Here, another reason why I said I was satisfied with my position, because like I said, on his face, it looked like he wasn't aware with the latest move that was being played, and he thought very long here, and he played this move, bishop to e6. Now, this move kind of confused me, because not only is it not the right move in the position, the move that's right is bishop to g6, which is what we just analyzed, but bishop e6 is very passive. Because it looks like a pawn, to be honest. If you guys see this, it's like, it could be it looks like a regular pawn on e6. It's not doing anything. The bishop's diagonal is blocked out because of this pawn on g4. Rather, if the bishop is on g6, it still has this nice, beautiful diagonal. So after bishop e6, it kind of confused me, but I still went along with my plan. Now, the reason why I played knight to g3 in this position is because I have a long-term plan of moving this rook to a2, followed by placing it, somewhere along this second rank. Now, as you guys will see in the game. So after knight to g3, my opponent responded knight to e8. Now, here, I believe his idea is to either play queen to h4 or play pawn to f5. Now, what I was thinking here is, if he wants to ruin my, structure,
Mm-hmm.
he possibly wants to play pawn to f5. Now, and that would be a good move on his part, because now I'd be afraid to cast, because this pawn on g4 would be exchanged by the pawn on f7. And eventually his queen will come into play, and my king will be in danger. So after he played this move, I responded bishop to d3. Now, my reason behind this move is so that I have more support on this f5 square. Now, if he were to play f5, I would just win a pawn, because he can't capture it without losing material. So if we go back, now since his f5 move is delayed, he responded with the move queen to c8. So now he has a different plan. Now his plan is to capture. Now his plan is to capture on d4. Per se, if I were to play random moves, like let's say h4, he captures, and now he has a nice threat, and he wins a piece here. He plays this nice move of queen to c3 check. Now he's attacking my rook, and I'm in check. So if I were to block it out, he just wins this bishop. So I saw this threat, I saw this tactic, and I responded with castle, so that he doesn't have this queen c3 check at the end. Now, after I castled, he played this move knight to d6. Now, I would say that his plan is still to play f5, because not only is his queen on c8 protecting the f5 square, his knight is also on d6 protecting the f5 square. Now, after knight to d6, here, I figured, if he were to play f5, I can't stop that, because that's on his side of the board. So what I should do is try to protect my king. And as I was saying before, my idea was to bring the rook up to a2, and then possibly to g2, aiming on the king on g8. And that's what I did, rook to a2. And after rook to a2, he played pawn to b5. This confused me, because I figured that his play was on the king side of the board, but he turned it over to the queen side. So I continued rook to g2.
So now, in that position, are you considering him playing c4 as a threat, blocking the queen side, and then maybe a5 and b4?
Now, if he were to play c4,
Right.
I would be very happy. Honestly,
Right.
very happy, because now c4 is a move that's releasing the tension in the center. Now this pawn, I don't have to worry about losing it or worry about it being captured. Now c4, it's a move that can be played, of course, but it's not the best move. The reason why is because I would just retreat, and still, my pieces are still aiming towards his king, and he's gonna have to worry about that. And my pieces are coming faster than his pawn play on the queen side. It's kind of too slow. So I also have in the future e4 if I want it to be played. Now the difference is I can't really play e4 in this position because I have to worry about him capturing this pawn on d4 first, and there could be slight confusions in the position. But if c4 is to be played, now it's just a happy position for white. Instead he chose a5, so his mind was set on trying to possibly queen these pawns. But honestly, in chess you have to realize what your opponent's plan is. If you see your opponent bringing your rook to a2 and then to g2, it's something that you might have to question, like, what is my opponent doing? If you see his pieces are aiming towards my king, maybe you have to worry about that too. But unfortunately, I don't see any move on the king side that would help his position. So I guess this would be something he has to try. I mean, f5 earlier would be a move that he possibly could have made, but unfortunately he didn't. And now we'll see how it backfires in his position. Because now after a5, I played move queen e1. The idea of this move is to bring more pieces into play. My idea is to bring my queen to h4. And how I would do that is by playing knight to h5, followed by queen to h4. After queen to e1, he played this move, rook to a7. Now, I found this move to be funny too because it doesn't look normal to me. Honestly, it doesn't look normal to me. The reason why is because what is it doing on a7? I don't see any activity. It's just covering these squares, which has no purpose. Maybe he wants to bring the rook to e7, but even then, I don't think he realized what my plan is. And after rook to a7, I played knight to h5, excuse me. After knight to h5, plays knight to a6. And I think this is a good game that demonstrates, queenside play versus kingside play. And you have to, and whichever is faster and stronger is always the one that usually works best. After knight to a6, maybe his plan is to play b4 with the support of the knight on a6. But unfortunately, after knight to a6, now here, knight to a6, now here's where all the fireworks come on the board. I played this nice move, knight to f6 check. Now, I thought for about a good 5 to 8 minutes on this move, and when I saw this move, I was very happy with myself because I calculated this and I saw that if he's in check, he has two ways to respond: to capture or move the king to h8. Now, if he moves the king to h8, now this is just lose. Because the reason why this is losing, I just captured the pawn on h7, I just win a free pawn, and I would eventually win the game by possibly bringing my queen to h4, and then he's going to lose. But, so his only move was to capture the knight. Now, my idea of this knight to f6 move is also to bring the queen to h4, threatening checkmate, because my bishop is also attacking the h7 pawn. So, this is what happened in the game. I played queen to h4. Now, the thing is, black cannot do pawn to f5. The reason why is because my plan in the beginning of bringing the rook to a2 and then to g2 was worth it, because now when I capture, he will be in check. Not only will he be in check, this will lead to checkmate in one.
Right.
Because that's checkmate. So he can't play pawn to f5 by to block out the checkmate. And if he brings any other piece to f5, I'll just win it with my pawn. So here I'm satisfied as well. So his only move is to move the rook out somewhere. And here he brought the rook to d8. Now, it looks like, there's no more checkmate because he hides, right? And this is good for black. He's just up a piece now, and my queen is under attack. His king is very safe. But the thing is, I have another piece that can take on h7, and that is the bishop. Now, after I captured with the, sorry, not yet. I see that his plan is to play king f8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I see that's his plan into high, I have to stop him from doing that, and I do this by playing queen to h6. Now, my idea is to play bishop to h7 to get the king under under my queen. So after I play queen to h6, now this looks very scary for the black side. Now after queen h6, it's hard to defend this position. He plays knight to e8. There's not really a move that he could do because he couldn't play f5 again because of the same idea of taking followed by queen f6. So he plays knight to e8 to play, maybe to play f5. Who knows? But now everything is forced here. I play bishop to h7. His only move is king h8, and now after king h8, I play this nice move of rook to g3, and he resigns. The reason why he resigns in this position is because I have forced checkmate. My idea is to play rook to h3, followed by moving the bishop out, and there would be checkmate on h8. And I can demonstrate this to you guys right now. For example, if he were to play like knight to g7, I would play rook to h3, and my idea is to play bishop to g8 check, and when he takes the bishop, I'm going to play queen h8. So if we were to play any random move, pawn to f5, check, and this would be checkmate, and this is inevitable. So, and this is how the game ended. He resigned after I played rook to g3, because he saw this idea of playing rook h3. And this is my game that I wanted to show you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's take a quick look back at the game, and let's find the critical moment where you decided to sacrifice your knight on f6.
Right. I believe that was move 18, possibly. Yeah, move 18.
Take. Alright, yeah, you can go ahead and can find that move.
Yeah, no problem. Alright, so...
Excellent analysis, Josh. I really got a sense
Thank you.
that you have a very creative style in chess. You know, playing rook a2 to rook g2. Yeah, very nicely done.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see where this move is. Okay, right here. Oh. Sure. Okay. Do you see the board on your end?
Just still loading.
Okay.
Not d5, move 6.
Yeah, I think we just keep continuing.
Okay, knight f6, I got it. So, what... Okay, wait. I'm at 992.
Nice.
Rook a2. Everything's... Okay, knight f6. Check. Now, I don't know why everything's going back. Not rook a2 again. Which is a nice move.
Thank you.
Okay, so knight f6. Not rook g2, a5.
Knight f6. Alright.
Queen e1. Everything is slowing down here. I have to improve the quality of this stream next time. I have to get a better computer, but everything's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, knight f6. Now, how far did you see? How are you able to recognize that knight f6 would generate an attack that is useful? Like, weren't you considering the fact that, you know, let's say he defends, takes, plays rook e8, king f8 immediately, that you'd be down a piece and it'd be too much. So how did you know this was a critical moment to play knight f6? Why do you think for that, for that amount of time? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, before playing a move like knight to f6, I would say you would have to you would have to calculate, uh, like around 5, 6 moves, afterwards, or you have to see, the clear win, because this is just giving up a piece. You can't just do this without being 110% sure that you know what you're doing. And I actually was grateful enough to see the all the way to checkmate from this position, and that is around like maybe like 8 moves,
Okay.
7 to 8 moves in the game. So because I saw here, I can eliminate this move. So I saw that he has to capture, which is the move that would lead to forcing a plan for white. Now I saw queen h4. Now the reason why I wasn't really afraid of rook to d8 and then the king moves out is because I saw this move immediately. That queen h6 stops all that idea, stops that whole idea. And I saw that worst comes to worst, I have this bishop takes h3 followed by a perpetual. I bring the bishop back, then I bring the bishop to h7. I saw this as a forced perpetual. And if I could get to this far, I could keep going. Maybe there's just a win. And I did see a win, because after knight to e8, I saw if I just capture, yes, I have a perpetual if I want. But the thing is, I don't have to do that. I could. There's no piece that can attack my queen or my bishop, so I don't have to move it. I don't have to move neither pieces. So all I have to do is bring more pieces into the action, and that's the rook. So I played rook to g3, and I saw this is forced checkmate if I play this move. And there's no piece that could really stop me from playing rook to h3. And that's how I came to my conclusion that this game was just winning after knight to f6.
Nice, an excellent game.
Thank you.
Well, really well played. I have a question for you that one of my students asked, which is, what is the significance and importance of recognizing the difference between light squares and dark squares on a chessboard?
Oh, that's a very deep question, and it's a good question, because when you play the game, you realize that dark squares and light squares mean a lot. Now the reason why is because if you have, for example, if you have a light squared bishop and your opponent has a dark squared bishop, if you have the light squared bishop, your significance on the board is your light squares. Now you'd have to use your light squares to your advantage, meaning every piece or every connection or diagonal on the board that has to do with light squares is yours. So if you don't take advantage of that, then if black gets to take advantage of that, if your opponent gets to take advantage of that, then it's good for your opponent. So it's just not that in that situation where light squares versus dark squares is significant. It's in general, with knights, if you see that your knight has a nice light square it can go to, you want to take advantage of that. If it's a dark square, you want to take advantage of that as well. But the significance, I would say, is it controls a lot of squares, either color, light or dark, and you want to use it to your advantage as best as you can. You want to create outpost squares for your pieces. You want to create, diagonals, open diagonals for your queens or your bishops, and you want to control as many light or dark squares as possible.
Right on. So to summarize, light and dark squares have significance because they control specific squares that your opponent cannot take advantage of. If they don't have, let's say, a light square bishop, they cannot take advantage of your light squares, and you'd be able to play on that color complex. Okay.
Yep, that is right.
And I have one more question, kind of a word of advice for students who are beginner to intermediate players looking to improve. What would you say to them in terms of ways to improve, and also, I would say, how should you think about chess?
For those that are watching, I would say the best way to improve is by if you're an active chess player, it's always best to go over all your games, win or loss, because not every game is the same game. You want to make sure that you don't make the same mistake more than once. You know, you want to learn from your mistakes. It's one thing to play your game. You win and you say, "Yeah, I won," and you throw the game out. No, it's best to go over the game because even though you won the game, there's always mistakes being played. Though even the world champion Magnus Carlsen, he makes mistakes himself, and I'm sure he says it himself that he reviews all his games and he corrects them and he makes sure that he doesn't make the same mistake twice in the future. I would also advise to be active, keep playing chess. Even though you lose, it's okay because nobody's perfect, and the only way you get better is by learning from your losses. Chess is a beautiful game. There's chess is like it's like art. It's like drawing a picture. Like for example, in my game, it's the move rook a2, bring the rook to the king side, and the knight f6 move. Chess is just a beautiful game, and over the years that I've been playing, I've just realized, it's just something that I don't think I could ever stop playing because I learn a lot of new ideas. I can relate chess to life. You can't take back moves, just like in life. If you make a mistake, you can't take it back. And there's a lot of lessons and just beautiful ideas that you could capture by playing the game.
Awesome, great answer. So
Thank
that's all for that we have for the stream. I'm going to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the
you.
stream. Josh is an excellent chess player, and I hope that he's able to snag that international master title and grandmaster title in the future.
Thank you.
All right, bye guys.
Bye bye.